From our Toronto studios, this is the Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum, I am Ahmed Ramadan. Student visa interviews are paused as the U.S. plans stricter social media screening policies. This and more in today's show, so stay tuned. Tech billionaire Elon Musk has publicly criticized a $3.8 trillion domestic policy bill backed by President Donald Trump. In an interview with CBS, Musk said he was disappointed by the spending plan, which he believes increases the budget deficit. He said it undermines reform work by the Department of Government Efficiency, known as DOGE, which he led in the earliest weeks of Trump's latest term in office. The bill, called the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, includes extended tax cuts, tougher Medicaid work rules, more border funding, and cuts to clean energy incentives. The Congressional Budget Office warns it could add $3.8 trillion to the federal deficit by 2034. Musk, who led cost-cutting at DOGE, said a bill can be big or beautiful, not both. The measure passed the House, but awaits a Senate vote. Musk's comments mark a rare policy rift with Trump as he continues to lead Tesla, SpaceX, and X while distancing himself from DOGE's daily operations. National Public Radio and 3 Colorado public radio stations are suing the Trump administration over a new executive order that halts federal funding to NPR and PBS. The order directs the Corporation for Public Broadcasting to cut all support to public media, accusing NPR and PBS of political bias. NPR and the station argue this move violates the First Amendment, calling it retaliation for news coverage President Donald Trump dislikes. They say the order threatens press freedom and undermines public trust. The lawsuit also claims the order breaks constitutional protections, including due process and separation of powers. This comes just weeks after Trump attempted to fire 3 CPB board members, another action now under legal challenge. Public media groups warn the order is a direct assault on independent journalism and an effort to politicize public broadcasting in defiance of congressional intent. A new report has exposed how state and local police across the U.S. are helping Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, track immigrants using AI-powered license plate readers. The 404 media investigation found more than 4,000 immigration-related lookups using Flock Safety's surveillance system, even though ICE has no formal contract with the firm. Officers from across the country cited reasons like ICE, immigration, and ICE warrant while searching license plates in Illinois and other states. Observers say this gives federal agents side door access to local surveillance, raising fears of mass tracking and rights violations. The searches spiked after Donald Trump's return to the White House in January. It followed his executive order letting local law enforcement officers act as immigration agents under the controversial 287G program. Privacy advocates warn this shadow network could be used for broader surveillance. Flock Safety says it supports local policies and audits, but civil liberties groups call the practice deeply troubling. President Donald Trump has claimed Canada is considering becoming the 51st U.S. state to join his new missile defense plan, the Golden Dome, for free. In a post on Truth Social, Trump said Canada wants in on the system but will have to pay $61 billion unless it joins the U.S. as a state. Then it's free. He called it a cherished opportunity. Trump's statement sparked a stir, though Canada has not made an official comment. Prime Minister Mark Carney reportedly rejected the idea earlier this month, stating, clearly, Canada is not for sale. The Golden Dome system, announced last week, is a $175 billion missile shield involving advanced land, sea, and space tech. Trump insists Canada is eager to participate, citing joint security concerns over threats from North Korea, Russia, and China. Carney did confirm talks on possible cooperation in the missile defense, but dismissed any suggestion of statehood. The U.S. has paused new student visa interviews as it considers expanding mandatory social media screening. A leaked cable obtained by Politico reveals that Secretary of State Marco Rubio ordered embassies worldwide to stop scheduling fresh appointments for students and exchange visitor visas. The halt applies to F, M, and J visas. The move signals a major tightening of vetting procedures. Consulates have been told not to add appointment slots until new instructions arrive. The Biden administration had been increasingly scrutinizing online activity. Current checks already cover posts, likes, shares, and group memberships of foreign students, tourists, skilled workers, and researchers. The U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Service also warned in April that content it deems anti-Semitic or what it considers support for extremist groups on social media could lead to visa denials. The State Department has yet to comment on the policy shift. Israel killed at least 43 Palestinians in airstrikes across Gaza, including journalist Osama al-Arabid and his family in the last 24 hours. Hamas says it has reached a framework deal with U.S. envoy Steve Witkoff for a permanent ceasefire. The deal includes full Israeli withdrawal, unimpeded aid access, and a Gaza Management Committee post-ceasefire. In return, Hamas would release 10 Israeli prisoners and several bodies in exchange for Palestinian prisoners under international mediation. Before the agreement could advance, Israeli officials rushed to media to reject it. Shortly after, U.S. envoy Steve Witkoff publicly accused Hamas of misrepresenting the proposal, a claim that directly contradicted what sources involved in the talks say had already been agreed to. Families of Israeli prisoners blocked a Tel Aviv highway, demanding a deal to end the conflict and bring all captives home. Israel's genocide in Gaza has killed more than 64,000 Palestinians. It has wounded 123,129, according to Gaza's health ministry. The International Criminal Court has issued war crime arrest warrants for Israeli leaders. Israel faces a separate genocide case at the World Court. Top British and Irish authors urge a ceasefire and sanctions on Israel, calling silence on Gaza a form of complicity. This and more coming up next. At least 47 Palestinians were injured, most by Israeli gunfire, after a desperate crowd rushed a newly opened aid distribution center in Rafah, southern Gaza. UN official Ajit Sunge confirmed Israeli forces opened fire on the crowd, calling it a failure of the so-called buffer zone aid plan. The controversial U.S.-Israeli-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation facility descended into chaos Tuesday after Israeli forces opened fire on starving Palestinians trying to access aid, prompting the evacuation of American staff. The facility's biometric screening and militarized layout have drawn sharp criticism from rights groups who warn it enables surveillance and detention under the guise of aid. Sange painted a grim picture of Gaza's worsening crisis: burned children in shelters, families wiped out in strikes, and starving babies. He warned Israel's actions reflect disregard for humanitarian law and said the suffering amounts to ethnic cleansing. Israel has blocked aid into Gaza since March 2nd, worsening hunger and displacement. Healthcare workers in Gaza staged a protest against the Israeli army's order to evacuate Al-Auda hospital in northern Gaza. The protest took place at the hospital's branch in Nusayrat refugee camp. Doctors condemned Israel's continued targeting of hospitals, patients, and medical staff. Some demonstrators had been evacuated overnight from the northern facility with help from the Red Cross. Dr. Iman Shaban said staff remain committed to their humanitarian duties. Nearly 400 leading British and Irish writers have called Israel's war on Gaza a genocide and urged an end to global silence. In an open letter, authors like Ian McCowan, Zadie Smith, Janet Winterson, and Irvin Welsh condemned what they called atrocity of genocide. They are urging the UK, Ireland, and the world to speak up. They said legal and human rights experts no longer debate the term genocide for Gaza. The writers expressed solidarity with Palestinians and with Jewish and Israeli voices resisting what they said were genocidal policies. They said, while Hamas's October 7, 2023 attack was a crime, what Israel is committing daily is a genocide. Calling silence a form of complicity, they demanded an immediate ceasefire, UN-led aid access to Gaza, sanctions on Israel, and release of prisoners. They stressed their opposition to anti-Semitism and hate, saying we refuse to be bystanders of genocide. Pakistan's Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif has urged India to return to the table for peace talks in South Asia. Sharif was speaking at a trilateral summit in Azerbaijan's border city Lachin with Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan and Azerbaijan's President Ilham Aliyev. He said lasting peace hinges on resolving the Kashmir issue and water disputes. He criticized India's unilateral suspension of the Indus Water Treaty, calling it an attempt to weaponize water and threaten Pakistan's 240 million people. Sharif warned that Pakistan is taking steps to ensure this never happens again. He also thanked Turkey and Azerbaijan for their support during recent tensions with India, especially after the deadly Pahalgam attack in April, which India linked to Pakistan, a claim Islamabad denies. Sharif stressed that true strength lies in solidarity and mutual respect, urging the region to choose compassion over conflict for a peaceful and prosperous future. A deadly cholera outbreak in Sudan has killed 172 people and infected more than 2,500 in just 1 week, health officials confirmed Tuesday. The worst-hit areas include the capital, Khartoum, and nearby Durman, with cases spreading across several provinces. Doctors Without Borders says Sudan's crumbling healthcare system is overwhelmed. Many patients are arriving too late for treatment. Since mid-May, nearly 2,000 suspected cholera cases have been treated, but experts warn the true scale likely is much higher. The outbreak adds to Sudan's deepening crisis amid ongoing civil war, famine, and water shortages. Cholera, a fast-spreading disease, causes severe diarrhea and dehydration and can kill within hours if untreated. Sudan's health minister blames the outbreak on overcrowding and limited clean water as displaced families return home. The World Health Organization says 18 African countries, including the Democratic Republic of Congo and South Sudan, are battling similar outbreaks. The Islamic Development Bank Institute wrapped up its first ever AI hackathon in Islamic finance. It highlighted tech innovation in the $4 trillion Sharia-compliant finance sector. The May 20 event, held during the ISDB Global Forum in Algiers, brought together students, developers, and entrepreneurs from around the world. Their mission was to design AI-powered tools that help simplify and standardize Islamic finance accounting rules. Top prizes went to the Khalil, Al-Burak, and Bankai teams for their standout solutions. The event focused on harmonizing financial accounting standards set by AAOI-FI and demonstrated how AI can enhance compliance, accessibility, and global alignment in Islamic finance. ISDBI says this is just the beginning of AI's role in reshaping Islamic financial services. Scientists have discovered a rare case of ice piracy in Antarctica, where one glacier is stealing ice from another. A University of Leeds study shows the Cholera East Glacier has sped up, while nearby Cholera West Glacier has slowed down by 10% since 2005. Satellite data reveals ice flow is being diverted from west to east, an unprecedented shift in under 18 years. Lead researcher Heather Shelley says changes in surface slope caused by uneven thinning are driving the redirection. Experts warn this points to faster than expected glacier changes, once thought to take centuries. Istanbul-based climate scientist Orhan Ince says ocean warming and melting permafrost are behind the shifts, directly affecting global sea levels. The EU's Copernicus Climate Service report that sea levels have risen almost 4 inches in 30 years, with most of that from melting glaciers. That's all from our Toronto studios. Thank you for watching Muslim News. We are a community channel dedicated to bringing you stories you can trust. Please like, share, and subscribe to our content. You can also comment to let us know what you think of our coverage. You can donate now by visiting muslimnetwork.tv/donate. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV. Salam.